Good morning. Actually, good afternoon. Excuse me. It's afternoon. Today is January 17th, 2025. This is video number 5, and today's topic is the F bomb. No, not that one. Don't be silly. I'm a teacher. How dare you? Not that F bomb. The other F bomb. This F bomb. Fear. Fear is the F bomb. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to give you a sketch of some video ideas I have for down the road, a preview of future episodes. But for today, I want to talk about the common element in all of these stories, which is fear. Fear is the enemy. FDR used to say, we only have to, we have nothing to fear but fear itself. And boy, was he ever right. I forgot to turn on my timer. I'm sorry, I might go too long now. See what I did? I forgot to turn on the stopwatch. Where is that thing? There it is. Okay. Now I'm timing myself. And I probably have a couple extra minutes in there. Okay. Fear is in all of these stories, fear is the common element in all of them. And here are some of the future episodes I have in mind. The waste stack, where these plumbers who are connected to the electrical company, they're all the same company, they came in and tried to convince me that I needed a new outflow for, I don't know what you call it, the thing that takes your sewage out to the city, that thing. I think it's called a waste stack or something, a waste pipe. And they say, "Oh, you need a new one." I didn't need a new one. $30,000 it would have been. Thank God I was saved from the worst abuses. Really, I was saved in a lot of ways. That's one episode. Another one is the gas company fraud, and this happened to the mother of a schoolmate of mine. This was a story that still makes me super angry, and it did not happen to me, but it happened to a widow in her 90s, and they really had her fooled. And I'll explain to you how there was in a couple of these stories, there's an element of reality. What I mean by that, an element of reality, but that it's a part of the truth, but not the whole truth. And they take advantage of situations in a very heinous way. Another one is going to be the hacked writer. A good friend of mine, his computer was attacked, and that was real. He saw things flipping on the computer, and the screen went black, and there was a message that said, "Call this number. It's Microsoft support." It wasn't. And he got taken for money, a lot of money. All the things I can no longer do because of these bills, which actually came today. I don't know why they sent me an extra copy. I have auto pay, so they get their money regardless of whatever. I have these receipts. This is the Terminex one. This one is a monthly charge of $240.76. And the other one, and that interest is, I don't know, I think it's 18%. Yeah, it's 18% interest rate, 18%. And then this other one, interest charged. I don't know if they give you the percentage. It's probably 18% again, once again. And this one is a monthly payment of, where is that number? $110 every month. And that means there's a whole list of things I can no longer do, including donating to religious organizations that I'm connected with, including magazine subscriptions, including dinners out with my crochet friends, or my lady friends, who belong to an organization that I'm connected with. I can't do that anymore because those dinners cost $70 each, and I can't afford it because look at the bills. $400 that comes out of the bank every month, thanks to these really heinous people, really, really just deplorable people. Talk about deplorables. Another one is going to be the mouse invasion that caused the Terminex. And then another one is the lawn surfer. That's an in-person hack or attempted hack. The intake pipe, also in person. All of these things are mostly in-person stuff. And I'm really fond of Pierogi. He's my hero. He was like the the Scammer Payback channel. I love that channel. He's actually was my inspiration to start my own podcast because I thought I can do this. I want to tell people these stories. But I love Pierogi. He's this really smart guy, and He's very, very computer savvy. He's, you know, he could be a hacker himself. And according to what he's told us, he's independently wealthy, so he doesn't need to go out and work for a job. So he does these payback. I love that channel so much. It's called Scammer Payback, and it's my biggest entertainment in my life. Better than TV. So now, for today, what I want to talk about today is, I gave you the preliminary, and then I want to do a little bit of a discussion on the F-bomb, which is this F-bomb, fear. Fear, as we talked about in a previous video about the brain, fear engages the amygdala. When the amygdala is set into motion, you can't think, and you literally cannot think anymore. Your front brain is freezing. The brain that has logic and reason and analysis, it's frozen. And how do they make you afraid? They make you afraid by getting you to believe, like Tom Sawyer whitewashing the fence. You know, this is the greatest thing since sliced bread. Or you need this. You need this, man, because if you don't get this, the mice are going to take over your house. There was an element of truth in that, but it didn't necessitate $10,000 to get rid of mice. Just get a bunch of cats, a cat colony. You know, there's a lot of things I could have done other than spend $10,000. But they got me because they got me afraid. And partly the fear is based in some degree of reality. And once that happens, you're pretty much done for. So fear is what they use. Fear is the salesmanship. Fear, they make you afraid. And sometimes there's an element of reality that they can build upon. So in the case of the electrical panel, I invited the devil in. I called them and I wanted them to, you know, there's an old tradition that says the devil can't come into your house unless you invite him. Well, I invited them, those devils, in several times because I needed things done. I wanted receptacles put outside on the outside of the house for outdoor lighting and things like that. And they came and they installed them, and in order to install them, they needed to access the basement with the electrical panel, and that's where it went wrong, right there. When they went downstairs to see the electrical panel, and they thought, cha-ching, we can get her to replace this panel for $8,000. And they convinced me that I needed it, and I didn't. And as far as the mice, the two worst abuses were the Terminix and Mr. Sparky. They were the two worst. And Terminix was actually worse because this was $10,000. Well, it was $2,000 more than the other one. So, you know, $8,000, $10,000. What's the difference? The difference is $2,000. Anyway, so that's what happened. I want to talk about fear. Don't let them make you afraid. And with apologies to Dr. Seuss, I wrote something silly. It's based on a Dr. Seuss poem. It's called Do Not Sign. Hide your wife, hide your kids, and hide your husband too, because they be raping people financially out here. And that's apologies to Antoine. Do not sign it here. Do not sign it there. Do not sign it anywhere. Do not sign on a line. Do not sign on a dime. Do not sign for a mouse and stay away from my house. Do not show them fear. If you do, they will surely steer. Do not open the door. You are not the USDA free store. Do not let strangers in, or they will surely flam your flim. Do not let them on your phone. Do not let them in your home. Do not let them on your computer. Don't give them a chance to loot ya. Do not be fooled if they flip your screen. Do not be fooled if they fawn and preen. Do not be fooled by a uniform, or you will be homeless in the storm. Do not let them quench your sass, not even if you smell gas. Seal up your dome, protect your home, and hang up that phone. Scammers lurk in all the halls. Don't answer email, texts, or calls. Remember, fear is the wedge. Fear is the wedge. Technology or your physical door is the highway. Don't let them in. And when you see something like this, that's the time you show them the door. You see these things? These things are what cost me that $400 extra a month that I don't. I mean, $18,000 because of these things. You see these things? Never sign on these things. You know, it looks like, oh, it's a computer game. You just sign with your finger. Guess what? You're going to start getting bills every month for a lot of money. And this is where it wound up. See? This is where it wound up. Can you tell I'm angry? I'm furious. And I'm partly furious at myself, but I'm also furious at them. What was the other thing I wanted to talk about? Yeah, that was it basically. And in all of these things, these episodes coming up that I'm going to tell you about, in one case, it was based on something that was happening in reality. In my town, this was a few years ago. This was, I think, even before the pandemic, I think. There was a gas leak, a legitimate, actual gas leak. We could smell it, a natural gas leak. So some bad actors decided to take advantage of the situation, which I find so evil, so incredibly evil. They found New Jersey Gas uniforms. I don't know, maybe they were in a secondhand store. Somehow they shouldn't be let out to the public because of things like this. But they found uniforms. Maybe they borrowed them. I don't know where they got them. They went to a lady's house. Now, this is a widow in her 90s who was a very smart person and very well loved in this town. I'm not going to use her name. Let's call her Mrs. Bernini, like the sculptor. Mrs. Bernini answered the door, and they had uniforms. They had on South Jersey Gas uniforms, all official with badges and everything. So they said, there's a gas leak, which there was a gas leak. And they said, we need to check your gas line. Now, here's where it went wrong. One person went down to the basement with Mrs. Bernini. She showed him the way down to where her gas meter was. The other guy stayed upstairs. And while he was upstairs alone, he went into her bedroom, took her jewelry box with all of her jewelry in it, and $17,000 in cash. Now, what really burns my buttocks about this story is that in that jewelry box they were emigres from Italy, this couple. Her wedding ring, her husband died. Her wedding ring, her engagement ring, all of her wedding jewelry was in that jewelry box. And that's not something, the $17,000, yeah, it stings, but eventually money can be replaced in a sense. Not really, but in a sense, money is not the issue. The issue is that wedding jewelry that just, it's one of these, I want to just, if I ever run into those guys, they better run. And that's what happened with her. Now, this was based on reality. Reality was there was a gas leak, so it was perfectly believable that during the time that there is an actual gas leak, that gas employees might want to check your house. Except they weren't employees. They were faking to be employees, and I don't think they ever caught them. So once again, watch your door. Don't let people in. I know that it's kind of hard in a case like this because it feels like an emergency. You can smell the gas, right? However, the right thing to do would have been to shut the door, lock the door, and then say, I'm going to call the gas company myself. I'm going to find out if they actually sent you. Now, that takes a lot of mental strength because there's a leak. Everybody can smell it. Everybody knows it's real. And here are these people trying to save your life, right? Something similar happened to me, but I'm going to save that for another time because I'm going over time again. Lesson for today is do not let the F-bomb attack your bank account. The F-bomb. Fear is the F-bomb in this case. The F-bomb is fear. The only thing we have to fear is fear itself. Just remember, when something happens or somebody's at the door, first of all, if they're on the phone, just hang up. Email to, just delete it. Don't even answer. Don't click any links or scan any QR, those little design things, the QR codes. Don't scan, dear God, don't scan anything. Don't scan anything. Don't click any links. And don't answer the phone. I have RoboKiller. No, they didn't pay me for this, but they're very effective in catching most of the spam. They don't catch all of them, but they catch most of the spam calls. And that's a modest fee, and it's worth it to catch most of the spam calls. So that's the lesson for today. Do not sign anything. Beware the iPad. Beware the iPads. The iPads are going to cost you a buttload of money. Beware the iPad. Beware the phone. Beware the email. And if something happens on your computer, don't assume it's really Microsoft, because Microsoft is not going to contact you. You have to contact them. And it's usually not a phone call. It's usually something on a website. So you have to be careful every which way, every which way. Anyway, that's all for now. I've gone over time once again as usual, and I bid you a very nice cold winter day today. It's at least the sun is shining. It's a nice day today. Be careful out there, people, and please don't let anybody in. Whatever in means. Not in through the door, not in through the phone, not in through your bank account, through these iPads. Don't let anybody in. If you want something, you contact them. And by the way, when it comes to the bank, if I have some major banking to do, I don't do it on the internet. I definitely don't do it on the phone. I never would use my phone for banking. Never, never. Lots of reasons. But if I need to do something, I will get in my little car and drive to my little physical bank and physical person and talk to a physical flesh and blood human being to do whatever banking I have to do. And I think that's the best way. Peace out, people. Be very careful out there.